Welcome to the Spa Hive podcast. We're your hosts, Julie Pankey
and MaryAnn, spa leaders, business strategists, and business besties who are pulling back the curtain on what it actually takes to grow a business and a life you don't secretly want to escape from.
This is where leadership meets honesty, where revenue meets relationships, and where we talk about the things no one puts on Instagram.
So, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or a high achiever who's building something meaningful, but also navigating team dynamics, burnout, boundaries, and big goals, you're in the right place.
No highlight reels, no sugarcoating, just real conversations, practical strategy, and a little laughter along the way. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Spa Hive podcast. I'm Julie Pankey, your host, and I am here with my business bestie, MaryAnn, where we're going to continue our conversation from last week as we talked about trends. Love them, leave them, buying it, or we're saying buying it, borrowing it, or leaving it. Good morning, MaryAnn.
Good morning, Julie Pankey. Good morning to our listeners. Julie, how are you this morning?
Good. I am good. It's August, and I live in a very tourist dependent area of our country, which means that if you're in any type of service business in the great state of Maine, you're starting to fry like a piece of bacon.
Yeah, you're starting to fry out, but you know what? It's the top of August, so ain't nothing to it but to do it because you still got a few weeks left here.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you get for living in vacation land. So all the other times are nice besides August and July.
Right, exactly. It's a tough in any place. For us it's summer, for other places it's winter, other places it's spring break. Gosh, imagine that spring break crowd. We all have the tough times if you're in any sort of customer service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even dog walking. And my acupuncturist yesterday told me that like 6 moons are in retrograde or 6 planets are in retrograde aligned with these other moons. And, I'm not an astrology person, so I don't know the details, and she didn't give me the details, but she did tell me
that would have been interesting.
By the end of the week, they're going to come out of retrograde and people should start to feel a relief. So if people feel stressed and, maybe anxious or, heavy, squirrely or spirally, or maybe that's just me, but no, if people feel that way, there's something to it. It's in these planets.
Yes, it is. And you know what? Relief will be coming. So that's great because, the thing about planets is they're always moving, right? I have no idea. I went to Catholic school. They didn't teach me about planets.
Truth.
Well, it's true.
It is true. The first time I said I was going to see a psychic, my grandmother practically, said the rosary for me. She clasped the rosary and she was like, that's sacrilegious. And I'm like, it's sacrilegious if I take the psychic's advice seriously above believing in, having my faith in believing in God's plan for me. But, I'm not gonna take it as gospel from the psychic, and she just could never ever get over this. Yeah. So yes, I looked it up. Well, no, that's 2025, so wrong year.
Wrong year. We have some exciting news for our podcast. last month in July, we hit 600 downloads for the whole month. So this is really exciting. It's the highest we've ever had. As you know, we are a homegrown, locally grown bootstraps podcast over here. And that's big stuff for us. So, if you're loving what you're hearing, share it, download it, give us a review. It's really appreciated. But that was big stuff. So the problem is that when you hit a milestone, you want to keep hitting it. And that's the problem. So,
Always
help us in August. Let's get there. Last week we discussed some trends, right? Some summertime trends. And that was a really fun episode. Julie talked about some inappropriate things. So go ahead and hit pause and go back, or save that one for later and you can listen to it after this one. But Julie, what are we talking about today?
Trends. More trends. Oh, you want me to lead it off?
Let's have you lead it off. But yeah, last week we enjoyed it so much and we came so prepared because that's who we are. And we didn't get to go through all of our trends. So this week we thought, you know what? Let's just keep rolling. Let's keep rolling.
So I want to talk about the trend of social wellness. So I am mixed on this, and I have been talking to some colleagues in the spa industry because the spa that I work with, we're positioned to do a very large spa renovation. And of course, talking about what are the trends? Because when I worked with Four Seasons, I remember our philosophy was, never be trendy, but always be progressive, right? And I don't want to, I don't know sometimes if a trend is here to stay. And I know we've talked about that before, but I want to talk about social wellness. So it's big in Europe, right? Big in Scandinavian countries. The concept of the bathhouse, so communal saunas, group breath work, the group sound healing, your group soaks. So baths, communal baths. Communal, I think I went to, where did I go? Somewhere in Sonoma or Napa. Where was I? Wasn't at Ojai. I forget where it was. And they have, the communal, I don't know if it's volcanic dirt. I don't know, some kind of dirt thing, and it's warm mud and they cover you up and you and I could lay next to each other in a pile of dirt. I mean, I'm making it sound much more simple than it is.
It sounds like we're pigs. What is going on here? Little oinky pig.
And a lot of places are coming up with that Scandinavian sort of design, which relies heavily on that social wellness. So instead of participating, so at Osmosis, day spa in California, for example, it's the cedar enzyme bath. But, it's multiple people get into this cedar. I mean, I would not probably last in this with my allergies, but, it's cedar, rice bran, enzymes, it's warm. And so me and you and George and Gary and Katerina can all lay lined up together. Covered in this. And so that's just an example. And so I know that in Scandinavian countries, I know in Canada, in Quebec, there's a few spas that, follow that bathhouse. New York City, New York City has a few of the bathhouses where you participate in, I'm going to call it social wellness. And so, what do we think about that trend? I mean, I know what I think about it, but I don't 100% know what I think about it because let's be honest, I wouldn't mind going to, it was here, I think at Calistoga. But anyway, I wouldn't mind going to a hot springs with, me and you and George and Gary and us swimming in the, mineral bath and, hanging out in the communal sauna, but I don't know how I feel about doing that with like 13 other strangers.
Yeah. Are we naked or do we have clothing on?
Well, if it's co-ed, we would have clothing on.
Okay. I mean,
yes, I assume that they're all wearing clothes.
okay.
I haven't
So
been
that
to
was my
one that's
first question.
naked. However, I do remember, and I tell this story, that our good friend Christopher Drummond told me that I should go to a place in Miami to experience the spa and that I would have so much fun. And it's so cool and so nice because I had the afternoon free when I was down there for work one time. And so I went into their hammam, which was co-ed.
Yeah.
And there were many like same-sex couples in there, and of them were having intercourse.
What are you talking about?
And I was horrified and walked out. Not because they were same-sex couples,
Yes,
but because
right.
anybody was having open intercourse in the middle of the spa in the hammam.
Mother.
So maybe I had some trauma then because, that's not like a relaxing spa experience to me.
Okay. Well, we need Christopher Drummond on here to explain this because that's a whole thing in itself. Yeah, but I mean, what did you think? You went to Miami, so you get what you get.
That's what he told me.
It's Miami. You get what you get. Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
So I texted him and I said, I was just at, and I'm not going to say where, I just went to this place that you told me to go to, and this is what I walked in on. And he's like, girl, it's Miami. Move on.
That's great. I love it. Yeah,
But,
I mean, I guess for social wellness, I think that concept's always been there, right?
yeah.
So,
I mean, back in like Cleopatra times, the age of history of wellness.
Age of history of wellness. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think with any trend, if you're going to try to incorporate in your spa, you need to be able to pivot, right? And so, like, would I automatically put a communal, like a huge communal bath in that could only be used for communal baths? Probably not. Especially if you don't know if that's how long that trend's going to live for. But I feel like I would do it in Europe because for some reason I feel like, or like Scandinavia. For some reason I feel like, oh, they know things and like they're not going to be as gross as maybe people would be here.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
So maybe I would just always feel like
of, the floating poop in the hot tub in the past. Yeah. That doesn't happen in Europe, folks.
Man, okay, this is really spiraled. But like it. I would try. I mean, I would try it, I guess, but like I would try it in a very controlled environment. Like it'd have to be very like high end. Not to say that you can't have poop floating in your pool if you're high end, because you certainly can.
Oh yes,
but maybe
I'm talking about high end, right? Even more so, because then comes the entitlement of, we'll clean up my mess.
Oh, that's so disgusting. Okay.
I mean, it's a real experience, a real story that I'm just sharing that has happened in my career. I mean, people like to hear my real life experiences.
I'm just sharing it.
Yeah, I mean, so I do think like if I'm going to Europe, right, or I want to go to Quebec City and I want to visit the Scandinavian spa and experience.
Yeah.
The cold, the hot and cold treatments, oh my gosh, my mind just drew a blank. What's the hot and cold? Different, alternating the hot and cold. My mind just went a blank.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, but yes. Yep. Yeah.
Contrast therapy.
That's it. Good job.
I'd like to experience that contrast therapy, but But I feel like that's somewhere that I might not want to go all the time. It would be like a one-time experience that I would like
Yeah.
to experience, but not like my regular like wellness choice. So then if you build it, you have to bank on getting enough one-time want to experience this cool thing
Right.
to sustain it.
Which you might have. You might have.
Oh, whoa. So that was one thing I wanted to explore was the trend of social wellness. And, again, it's stood the test of time in some areas of the world. My question really was, can the US piggyback on, that community-based spa experience that other countries really thrive on?
Well, I mean, as you know, America is great again. So I'm going to go with, yeah, we can do it. My turn.
I'm gonna say we can't do it because although America is great, oftentimes
Again.
people don't want to look up from their cell phones to even say hello to someone on the street, let alone be in a communal spa setting enjoying your wellness experience with 13 strangers.
Kind of sounds like a party, but yeah.
Well, it is a party if it's 13 friends.
Yes, if it would be, right.
Like, that would be totally fun. So it
Do you
could be
have
fun for
13 friends?
groups. No, but it
Yes.
could be fun for
I know.
groups.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, let's not beat this one into the ground.
Okay. All right. So next trend, moving on. And this is really, I want to say, well, I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do first, but let's do this one. So this one has been all over my social media. It's a little bit more in the realm of like familyhood and like all of that, but I feel like it's a very big trend out there these days that's worth mentioning. This concept of a 90s summer.
90s?
90s. Yeah. Is this on your social media yet? Then it's gonna be. Give it a couple hours and it's gonna be everywhere. So a 90s summer. So, this kind of is combating the idea of like having summers super choreographed, super planned out. I'm doing lots of camps. Like, again, this more is into like the family part, like maybe parenting part. And, really having a plan for every day type of deal. This kind of contrasts that. So 90s summer includes things like riding bikes until the streetlights come on, drinking from the garden hose, slip and slides, water balloons, public pools, renting movies from Blockbusters, which you couldn't even try right now if you wanted to because there are no Blockbusters. Ice cream trucks, disposable cameras, boredom that led to creativity. And no one knowing where you were for 6 hours. So
Backyard barbecues and popsicles.
yeah. So it's really exploded on like TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, but that really makes me laugh because it's supposed to be like before every moment had to be documented, right? Like you're living more carefree. You didn't have the cell phone all the time with you. I mean, in the 90s, did we even have cell phones? I don't know. Maybe a flip phone.
No, I think we had one that would plug into the car's cigarette lighter, right?
So that was like that big giant, but
it was
you
like
weren't taking pictures with it.
No.
And posting on Instagram, which, nobody was doing. And before people knew like where you were, what you were doing, what you were eating every second of the day. But then in contrast, you can't say like, I'm having a 90s summer, but here it is all over my Instagram.
I agree. And I also I feel like almost saying like a 90s summer is just like another way to put pressure on like parents to create this magical, nostalgic summer for their kids, right? And I'm done with that.
I think that's what parents should be doing. 90s, 2000, 2010s, 2020s. I mean, instead of being on, a phone or a device of some sort, ultra structured camps, etc.
Right.
just playing, board games,
I hate
riding
board
your
games.
bikes outside,
No, I
you
agree
know,
with it to a
cooking
certain extent.
s'mores. Love s'mores.
I mean, I love a s'more. I agree with it to a certain extent, but I don't agree with it when it comes to putting more pressure on us to always have to have a magical moment. And I also want to say, as a kid that had many 90s summers and early 2000s summers, half of my summers I was in the AC watching Ricky Lake and Maury. So if that's what we mean about a 90s summer, then sign me up. That's fine. I'll be in the AC. But it's just, I feel like we're always romanticizing a period of time in which we're not in. And I think that is sometimes when you can get into trouble with not being present and like just grateful for what you have now.
I think that, so the people, I mean, it's showing up on your feeds because, these are people that are capitalizing on it, like some way they're using it, to give Instagram content.
Yeah.
However, I think the concept of a 90s summers, can translate down to, how do we have simpler lives? Like how do we simplify things a little bit more, and try to just enjoy and have fun and appreciate every moment, versus over structuring it. I mean, if I think of a 90s summer, my parents were not bogged down worrying about, structuring my day every summer day.
Right. Yes. Right. So,
I was outside cutting the grass.
well, I did not do that. It was more of an AC inside. I mean, we had like an above ground pool for a couple years, so that was exciting. This pivots and it goes to, I don't know if you've seen those reels that's like 90s rich is now today's poor.
No.
It's really good and it's literally like so spot on. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Like,
I don't
what's
know if
the
I'm
one
complete.
thing from your childhood summers that you wish would make a comeback? Like it was fun to play outside in the dark, right? Or until dark. And then, come back in. And we can't do that anymore because, my parents weren't as afraid of me being kidnapped, or there being, some kind of kookaluku in my neighborhood, as a lot of people have to worry
Probably were
about.
more.
I'm not sure I would drink from a garden hose anymore, but back then I would.
I feel like my summers were pretty unregulated to the point of definitely being some boredom and like watching a lot of TV, which again, I'm not complaining, right? I love
Right.
TV and I loved my childhood. Very fortunate, but I don't feel like mine was, and maybe it's because I was the youngest of many children and they were all older than me, but it's, my parents weren't like, here, I just got you a new slip and slide, or here's some water balloons. Let's go have a water balloon fight. Like that didn't happen, right?
Right.
My mom would probably be like, here, let's go get our nails done, or let's go shopping at like Dollar General, which love that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like creating all these like active, magical activities for me.
Well, like Layla and I and Gary, all of us, I guess, we used to go outside and catch fireflies at night. That's a nostalgic activity. I did that with my dad, along with we went out at night and caught night crawlers and dug up the worms for fishing. God. But, fireflies sounds a little bit more magical than night crawlers.
Yep. No thanks.
And, we did that with Layla and, we said that with Ethan the other night, we're like, ooh, should we stay out and see if any fireflies come out? Then he wanted to know the scientific reason that, fireflies light up, which none of us know.
That wouldn't work in my house because my children go to bed before it's dark out in the summer. It's too late. It's too late. I can't handle it. But maybe in the winter I could do like catching snowflakes in the dark. That might be cute because it gets dark at like 4:30. So that's doable.
Right.
4:30 is doable. But if it's like 9 o'clock, no thanks. I'm already asleep. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just a naysayer of this 90s summer because like maybe I just didn't have like these nostalgic type of summers like that. So it
Yeah.
doesn't really mean much to me.
But you could create them. I mean, you like to have your magical fall,
Yeah, I mean, I
with
love fall.
limitless amounts of, festivals.
I do love a limited amount of festivals. And it could also be a part because this summer is just different, right?
Right.
It's hot. I'm, pregnant. There's a lot going on. And so maybe it is like, I'm like, one more thing that I have to choreograph to make a magical moment, like I'm going to punch you in the nose type of deal. So maybe next year, who knows, I'll be making a magical 90s summer.
Right, with 3 kids.
Blessed. But yes, my next trend, and I'm going to take your spot because this piggy's back on my 90s summer.
Okay.
Have you heard this concept of a sardine girl summer?
I don't know where you're getting these things on your Instagram.
It's coming, and now it'll soon be on an Instagram near you. Sardine girl summer. You haven't heard about it?
I mean, is this similar to, the difference between the, fisherman style and...
No, different. So Sardine Girl Summer is a social media trend that combines wellness, fashion, and European summer aesthetic. It taps into several things at once. Anti-perfection wellness. Now that's a trend within itself, and I like that. European vacation fantasies. And it's also very unexpected. I mean, who really thought sardines could join all of us together? And it's so funny because Julie, it was my birthday last week, and you sent me a lovely pair of jammies that I love. But if you look on the jammies, Julie Panky, there are cans of sardines. So it's like I'm having a sardine girl summer and I didn't even know it.
Right. But I do think Sardine Girl Summer is not about the sardine itself. I think it's about the coastal kind of fresh Mediterranean style, which, girl, I embody that every day of the year. Like, I am all for laid back, coastal, fresh seafood, picking my lemons from the lemon tree, swimming in the ocean, and reading my beach books. So I'm
but
there
I also
for
don't
that.
know how
And I've been eating
fresh a can of
sardines.
sardines is.
I've been eating sardines since I could eat.
That's
My dad would pop that can open and smear it on a Ritz cracker.
Sardine Girl Summer is also into this anti-perfection wellness. And part of that is this protein substitute, right? So all of us are trying to get more proteins in everything, protein. Well, there's a trend going around that's like, scratch all your protein powders, scratch your protein bars, get rid of all the junk, and just pop open a tin of sardines.
I'm buying it. I'm here for it.
And then you can collect. People are collecting tins.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I do.
Yep.
I do prioritize natural protein over protein supplements. I don't drink protein powder.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I try not to have protein bars. I do eat a protein cereal sometimes. I mean, I have it, but I don't always eat it. And I do like that Catalina Crunch. Okay. So, I mean, I do think if we can prioritize natural forms of protein, like real forms of protein, plus, I don't know the statistics or, the details, but I think that the sardines are like rich in the omega-3s and stuff that, are truly healthy. And, Portugal, and I spent a fair amount of my life, married to a Portuguese man prior to my current husband.
I was going to say, Gary's not Portuguese. No idea. Huh.
And, they would eat fresh sardines, not just canned. You grill them up on the grill, charred. I mean, I'm not
It's
going to be
almost as bad as
I'm not going to be
like
cooking
cream
them, but
tearing.
I
Cream
never
tearing
had.
in, oh my gosh, it's such a tradition in my family. And maybe, I don't know, maybe this has something to do with my life, but if you don't have cream tearing on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, right? When it hits 12, you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the year. But I've never had it because I think it's disgusting. And my sister always has it and nope.
Well, here my mother burns a bayberry candle from Christmas Eve to, I mean, no, from New Year's Eve to New Year's Day for good luck.
Sounds a lot more lovely than eating cream tearing. I'm going to
Yeah.
start that bayberry candle. Okay.
Yep. Good luck. Bayberry candle. We let it burn in the sink overnight till it burns down.
George
All
won't let
right.
me do that. All right,
Why?
Julie,
We put it in the
close
sink.
this. Yeah,
Well,
no, no.
really?
Oh, yeah, he would. No, 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 no. I mean, I also do live in a townhome, so I could take out more than just me. So
I know, but it's
it's
in the
okay.
sink. And if you're
What?
good and you remember and you start burning it at like noon, then it's pretty much like this big by the time it's like nighttime. But we don't always remember until like 7 at night, which is the problem.
Well,
All
yeah, then
right,
it's
so I'm
going
going
on
to
my head.
close this out.
Close this out with the goodie. No
Well,
pressure.
I
No
kind
pressure.
of, so I feel like it piggybacks on, some of the last two trends that you mentioned because they're very social media driven, but the book talk trend. So now it's a big thing that I'm getting in my feed, and that's everyone and their brother giving me book reviews. My top
Yeah.
10 summer books, my top 15 books of all time. And did you know that it is a trend that they're calling book talk? Now, I very rarely go on
Yeah.
because, my social media, as you know, automatically uploads into my TikTok, so I don't need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I started looking it up and, I did go on to social media. I mean, I did go on to TikTok and I looked up the keyword book talk.
Yeah.
And it's a whole community on
It's a whole
TikTok.
thing.
Yes, where readers share everything. And then I spend an hour on there scrolling through, listening to what they have based on genre and talking about it and, crying over and the rise of romantasy, which I know
Yes.
you love a good romantasy book.
A romantic.
I don't know. What do you think
Romantic.
about this book talk trend? I mean, it's not exciting. I probably could have closed out with another big exciting trend like GLP-1 discussion.
Oh my gosh, we need to have a third trend talk then. Because let me tell you, we have some GLP-1 discussions and news going on in my family. But that's for
Okay.
here nor there. I mean, I love a good book talk trend. I think we need to get in on it more. I think that more people reading is always better. So I love it and I'm into it. I do think it's funny. And I don't know if you've seen these reels, but they hysterically make me laugh every time. But it's like I got kidnapped, right? Like I got kidnapped, but my kidnapper doesn't know that I'm into dark romance. And so it's the person just dancing along being like, all right, let's go. Dude,
I have not seen that.
it's hilarious, and I'll have to send it to you because I can very much relate into it. But yeah, I like book talk.
I
You know
think,
what?
I mean, I'll borrow it because
I think he wants to be a book reviewer. Then you know what? There are worse things you could be. So
exactly. And I think
go
that,
ahead.
embracing the excitement around reading
Books. Yep.
reading books is a good thing, but also acknowledging that every viral recommendation might not be the right fit for every person.
Oh, yes. I have read some of the viral recommendations and I'm like, oh, there are so many better books out there than this.
Right.
But I never think that a book read is like a book wasted, right? So either way, I like it. Maybe we should start doing some reels that are BookTok.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we've read enough books.
Yeah, perfect. We'll get you
Right.
let's get you on the tiki-taki.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of our trends today. Hope that you stuck with us. You enjoyed learning about some of the trends that we've been learning about and our take on them. And we'll look forward to seeing you here again live in the Spa Hive. Goodbye, MaryAnn.
Bye, Julie. Bye, listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us today in the Spa Hive.
If this episode sparked an idea, made you think differently, or just made you feel a little less alone in business or life, share it with someone who might need it too.
Don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss a conversation.
And check out the show notes for links, resources, and ways to stay connected with us, including the Spa 101 course taught by our very own Julie Pinky.
We're so grateful you're part of this community.
And we'll see you next time.